Let me start my clock. And yeah, I'm good.
It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Welcome, Blake Sloan, Real Estate Show. Brand new show this week, brand new show this year, the first show of the year. So super excited about that. All kind of stuff going on. We'll talk about the brand new market numbers in from last month. We'll talk about brand new market numbers in from last year. We have all that data in, which is great. So we'll dig into that. And surprisingly, December did very, very, very well. They came off the heels of some low rates in October. We'll talk about that. But a 20% increase in sales last month from the previous December, which is awesome. We'll talk about that, kind of what brought that, and also what to look for here in 2025 as we look into Q1. A lot of people really saying that we're going to see a bounce back. It's all going to depend on what happens with rates, and they've been a little stubborn, holding higher than really a lot of people thought they would, and we'll talk about that as well. Some other stuff we had on last week's show just didn't get a chance to get to. Some shocking news coming out, the National Association of Realtors 2024 profile of home buyers and home sellers. It just shows really how unaffordable a lot of housing is right now. The average or median age of a first-time home buyer went from 35 to 38. We'll talk about the median home buyer age overall, which is significantly higher as well. Pretty much all that stuff rose the last year, and most has to do with inventory and affordability. We'll talk about that. We also talk about one thing we had on the list last week, just didn't get a chance to get to, is the top 3 reasons that people moved in 2024. Some very, very interesting data there as well. And again, our team is growing like crazy in 2025, looking to add some awesome agents to our team. So if you're thinking about getting real estate, if you've been in real estate, if you're watching this online, listening to us, whatever it is, reach out to me. If you're not licensed yet, don't worry. We have a scholarship program for people that can get a scholarship to be a part of our team for the right fit. We train them up. And also we're hiring on our administrative team because as many agents have pulled back the reins and they took off between, Thanksgiving and New Year's, we doubled down, increased our ad spend, and hustled like crazy. And we're looking to do that same exact thing here in 2025. So lots of great stuff to talk about. If you ever want to come back and watch these shows again, we stream them online. You go to YouTube, just type in Blake Sloan Radio Show. Follow me on Facebook at Blake Sloan. They're on Sloan Realty Group. We stream them all live. And also, you can go listen to your favorite podcast platform, Spotify, Apple, all that stuff. Just type in Blake Sloan Radio Show. But lots of great stuff we'll talk about today.
For any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the Real Estate Whiz Kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor Magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. One of those by itself is an accomplishment, but all of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly and a quick overview of how they work, Blake.
Absolutely, Rick. And that's the whole reason to the show, the whole DNA behind doing this. I think this will be the 15th year doing this show on the station. So a long time doing it, and it's still the same problems. And I made a promise years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I'm like, until this problem is solved, I'm going to continue talking about it every single week because it's by far the biggest. And I actually did an interview yesterday with someone, a company out of Salt Lake City, and they were just talking about what's the biggest problem that consumers have when it comes to real estate. And by far, it said, what's the biggest lie that people believe when it comes to real estate, about themselves? And it comes down to this one thing only. The biggest mistake that everyone makes is thinking that all real estate agents are the same. It could not be any further from truth, just like any doctor, any lawyer, right? If you're charged with a crime you didn't commit, the last thing I want is some part-time attorney or somebody suing me for all my assets that I own, and I have to defend myself. I don't want my friend's attorney who just does some cases part-time, right? I want the absolute best, most aggressive attorney who specializes in that type of law, who's going to give me a competitive advantage in the courtroom. And you should demand that same level of excellence when it comes to your largest asset, because most people don't realize it's a service-based business. And so what service-based businesses really mean in terms of real estate is it comes down to how well does that person execute. Same thing when you're at a restaurant. We go to the same place every Friday. Sometimes we have a certain waitress. Other times we have a different waitress. Every time we have the certain waitress, everything's amazing, great experience. We have the other one, which just last Friday as well. Guess what? Not a great experience. And it comes down to how do those people execute and what they do. It's the same exact thing when it comes to real estate, but this is for most people their largest asset. And so the single most important variable that determines your success or failure as a home seller comes into one thing and one thing only. That thing is the agent that you choose. And so most people tend to go with a friend or a relative. They don't really even ask the right questions. I've never really had anyone ask the right questions when they pick an agent. Most just ask how much do you charge, which is by far the worst question to ask, because if you do it based on the cheapest, right? The cheapest anything is not going to be a great experience. If I call around Myrtle Beach and try to find the cheapest Mercedes Benz, guess what? I'm going to not get a very good car at the end, right? If I call around getting the cheapest attorney for a lawsuit, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to get smoked in the courtroom. And so you want to make sure you find the best value, but you have to ask the right questions of like, hey, how many homes do you sell, right? How familiar with my neighborhood? What type of marketing plans do you have? What do you do to be different? All these things make a big difference that you got to make sure that you understand. And so that's the goal behind this show. And what I found was there's just a massive problem in the industry with just old school business models. Most agents still operate like an old school cassette tape where they have one single agent who's just juggling all the balls. So for example, they work with buyers and a buyer comes in off a for sale sign, internet lead, whatever it is. They're working with him, showing them properties. You have to show 12 to 15 properties before they find something. But if to survive in the business, you have to work with 20, 30 buyers at the same time, which doesn't leave much time for listings and listing someone's house. But guess what? They do it anyway. So list a property, right? Get you the value of the property. They're doing their marketing if they do any. They're doing their contract to close if they, can. And so what happens is you have the same person at McDonald's doing the front register, the drive-thru, and the French fries at the same time. Very, very, very inefficient business model, which is why you see almost a 50% failure rate right now in our marketplace for homes and condos that get listed, meaning gets listed. After 6 months or the listing term, guess what? The property's still not sold. They have to either relist it or go with someone else. And that's a massive problem that we see in the industry. And so you want to make sure that you understand the agent you choose matters. When I got in the business, like, look, there's got to be a better way. And so what we did is flip that business model upside down. We have a team of specialists where each person on the team specializes in what they do so we can maximize the leverage point at each one of those variables. And so it's like stacking the dominoes, right? You stack the domino at point one, create a small gap. Stack the domino at point two, you execute a high level, create a gap. And so you stack all those up over 118 different variables. It creates a massive gap between us and everyone else. And that's what gives our client the competitive advantage in the marketplace. Just like if you're looking at a marathon, right? Everyone takes off at the same time. You have a shotgun start. It looks all the same. But after a time, everyone tends to spread out. Some people finish 2-3 hours ahead of other people. It's the same exact thing that we do with the home seller. Our business model allows us to be able to outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. And so when that agent you choose, who's just a single regular, we'll call them cassette tape agent, they don't start marketing until they put the sign on the ground. With us, we're spending 6 figures a month in marketing, month after month after month, before you ever call us. And we have what we call buyers in waiting. And that thing's a part of our guaranteed sold system. That thing I designed, guaranteed sold system, is the only proven system that sells twice as fast and for up to 21% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. For buyers out there, guess what? Just as challenging. There's 100 plus variables when you're buying a property where each one is handled correctly, saves you money in your purchase, and you get the house you want. If anything's handled incorrectly, you lose out the house, or it costs you money in terms of paying a lot more money in the process. And so I designed this thing there called the Unfair Advantage home buying system. It gets you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, builder closeouts, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as the home inspection to give you that massive competitive advantage. But if you take this, anything to show, right, the agent you choose matters. Look back at the data nationally from the last year. 48% of real estate agents didn't sell a single home last year. And so it's been the toughest real estate market since 1995 in terms of units sold across the country. And so you want to make sure you have someone who has experience. You want to have someone who makes sure that they're able to go in and invest money on your behalf. And so if you just thinking about selling this year in 2025 or buying, you owe it to yourself to at least investigate. Even if you're super skeptical, that's great. Reach out and say, hey, what makes you different, and learn more about it, because you don't want to gamble with your largest home sale, your largest asset, which is your home sale. So give me a call, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. We'll take a quick break, right back in a second.
it's Ruthie here, and a little known fact about me.
That's interesting. Let's see.
Someone must have recorded over it
No, that's it's just
or labeled it wrong.
I'm looking for. No, I'm kind of feeling that it's a date thing. Let's see.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corpus.
That one works. I got a feeling it's out of date.
They did it last week, remember?
Well, no, I you got two Hannitys in there.
Yeah.
But I got a feeling that it's out of date. So I just gotta put the right date on it. There it is, right there. Yep, that's what it was.
We'll be right back in a second.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. You know, the real estate market is.
Yeah, it was in for the end of this past year.
Okay.
So I just extended it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. You know, the real estate market is constantly changing. Now, here to give us more insight into this is my friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. And I know certain programs make it a lot easier for the seller. Which ones do you offer?
Hey, Sean. In addition to our traditional program that sells your home for top dollar, we have an instant offer, a multi-offer, and a guaranteed offer program. I represent a large investment fund with millions of dollars who are looking to buy homes in the Grand Strand right now.
And what kind of return can you expect from them?
Here's what I'll say. Every seller's needs are different. Some need maximum convenience, and we deliver that every single time. Some need the most amount of money, and we have a program for that as well. We have a trademark program that nets sellers up to 5 to 10% more money than traditional industry methods.
All right, great insight, and thank you for this update. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD, or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com, and consider your home sold.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corpus. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. We offer several options to home sales, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers in a time crunch, we can agree to sell it by a certain date, take cash for your home, or even rent.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time,
We use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Brand new market update, all kind of stuff going on. We have the brand new numbers in from last month, and also last year. We'll talk about that. We talk about two types of numbers here. The front windshield numbers, that's like what's going to close in front of us, what's going pending in the last 7 days. And if it goes pending in the last 7 days, typically closes 4 to 8 weeks later, right? Sometimes 30, 60 days, depending on what type of loan it has, if it has a loan, all that type of stuff. It's been slow in terms of pending deals because we just had 2 back-to-back weeks. We had the Wednesday of Christmas and the Wednesday of New Year's. And so it's down from where it was the last 7 days. There was 303 properties under contract for $107 million. 2 properties are $1 million, 51 over $500,000. The one interesting thing, though, is inventory is down, which typically happens. They'll take their home off the market during the holidays. And also a lot of properties expire, like the Super Bowl of expired listings, always January 1st, because so many properties expired. So if yours expired and you're thinking about getting back on the market, you got to call me today, 843-808. So we don't do expired calls because we are good at marketing. And so if an agent calls you that's an expired agent and they're cold calling you, guess what? They ain't very good at marketing, because if they were good at marketing, they wouldn't have to call you at 7 a.m. if your house just expired. So that's a very, very important lesson there behind the scenes. But last week's show, there's 377 for $137 million. But inventory went from 1,400 properties active down to 1336. You'll see that bump back up probably in the next couple weeks as everybody gets back from the holiday brain. We talk about the holiday brain really anytime from right before Thanksgiving until December 31st. 7 out of 10 people we call on the phone who are buyers always just say, wait till the first of the year. And so what we see is everyone has these new resolutions. They've been backed up for 2 months. They feel super guilty. They weren't eating good. Now they got to like do a lot of stuff. And so our phone's been blowing up since the first of the year. And we're going to see usually the next 3 or 4 weeks are very, very busy. And so if you're thinking about doing something, reach out, call us. We've been hustling through the holidays, still hustling now. But looking back at the overall the rear view mirror numbers, which is like the what closed last month. Great news for closed deals. Last month, December sales were up 20.3% from the same month last year, which is awesome. So 362 closed versus last year, there's only 301. And so last December was very brutal. Why is that? Why do you see a big jump there? Well, if you go back to October 1st of this year, rates were down very, very low. Even if you go down to, let's say, October 1st and 2nd, so I got October 1st, a 30-year fixed rate was 6.2%, which is amazing. Right now it's in the 7s, right? And so when rates went back down to low 6s, guess what? Lots of buyers jump back in. That created pending deals. Pending deals closed 4 to 8 weeks later. Guess what? Puts you right in late November, early December. And that's why you saw a huge jump there, because there's so many buyers that are really on the sidelines waiting to buy. Like if you go back to October 1st, have the data here, a 30-year fixed rate was 6.2%, a 5-year ARM 6.1%, a 30-year FHA loan was all the way down into the 5s at 5.75%, a 15-year fixed was 5.55. So guess what? It put lots of gasoline on the fire. Lots of buyers are jumping in, and therefore you see a 20% jump in December. And so we'll see it bounce around the next little bit until we can get back into the 6s overall. But that's great news. And here's the deal. It finished up overall. I'll go back and do yearly in a second. Prices last month up good, which is good. We saw a decline the previous month, but average sale price last month up 6%, which is awesome. Back over $500,000 at $512,000, which is great. If you go back to October, it was $462. Right now, December, $512. So that's a $50,000 jump there just in the last 2 months of median price, which is average price, which is great. Median price up 4.1%, which is great at $385,000 overall. So that's really, really good news there in terms of that. Showings per listing is still down. It was down in December, down 10% from the same time last year. Right now, the average listing is getting 2.7 showings in the entire MLS. And that, again, goes to every agent with every company. And so that's something to keep in mind. The problem, though, last month, how many showings did it take on average to get a contract? And so just so you know, the software that every realtor has to use to book showings is all through the MLS. And so they have all the data. And so it keeps what's the average amount of showings that people book until they change the status of the listing to be a pending listing. And right now it's 13.4. And so 13.4, you take, the average amount that the average listing gets, 2.7, so let's say 3. It needs 4 times the amount of showings that the average listing is getting to get a contract, which is why most properties aren't selling. Right? 50% of properties are getting listed and they're not selling in their initial 6-month term. So that's just something to keep out there to watch out for right now. The average days on market last month was 101 days on market. And so that's significant, right? It's really between 3 and 4 months there to keep watching out. Most people are so used to selling with a couple of days just a couple of years ago. And so looking back at the overall 12-month review, it actually ended up positive, which is great. From here in Myrtle Beach, sales last 12 months up 4.4% with 5,302 home sales, which is great. That's for resale homes. Median price up 3.3% the last 12 months. The price for average price for houses up 3.7% at $490,000, which is great overall. Inventory was up the last 12 months, up 41%. Right now, 4.1 months of inventory for the entire year. And that's kind of the overall piece there. The average days on market, 98 for the entire year. So the last 12 months, they're average about 98. And so that's just pretty good news there. We'll take a positive for prices when you're talking about the slowest real estate market in terms of units sold across the country since 1995. And that was something that was in a Wall Street Journal article just a week and a half ago. As it just talked about those numbers. Condo sales, we'll talk about condos. They've been really kind of taking a beating lately. They're down 6.9% from the same time last year. Looking at overall sales price, average sale price is still positive, which is great, up 5% at $284,000. Median sale price also up 3.8%, which is amazing, at $241,000. If you look at inventory, it is actually down for the first time in a while right now, 6.5 months of inventory. It was at 7.2. And so it did hit a peak there of 7 months of inventory. It's still technically a buyer's market for condos because there's just so much inventory out there as well. But same thing there. You're seeing showings per listing right now. Condo listing showings are down through the floor, down 25% from the same time last year. Right now, the average condo gets 1.5 showings total the entire time that is listed. Typically, that's 6 months, right? And so that's very, very poor, which is why there's a lot of frustration right now for condo sellers. The average amount of showings it takes on average to get a contract is 10.3. And so that's a big difference there. You're talking 1.5 to 10.3. It's over a 5x needed to get. So basically, most listings are getting 5 times less the amount of showings than they need to get a contract statistically. That's why you need an agent who can market. That's why you need an agent who differentiate. That's why you need an agent who can spend money on your behalf to differentiate the condo from everything else out there. And that's why the agent that you choose matters so much. And so that's just something we'll keep looking at. Really quick for the annual, we'll talk about the 12-month review really quick for closed sales for condos. They're down 15.4%, which is not as bad as it was looking a few months ago. Right now, the sales, 4,552 condo sales in the last 12 months. Average sale price up, though, which is great, 3.4% at $263,000. Median price up 1.3% at $240,000 overall, which is good. And the average days on market in the entire year, 106 days on market. Last month, 118 days on market for the average condo. And that's of the ones that did sell. That's a kind of a nuance there, is that about 50% of properties don't sell. They relist or they expire, whatever it is, they renew it or they expire. And of the ones that do sell, they took about 118 days to sell, which is a lot longer than most consumers are expecting or even understanding. We make sure we take a lot of time to go through the data with our clients, say, look, here's what the average is. Here's how much better we are typically. And we're able to create our strategy around that overall. And so again, the one thing that's going to really determine what happens here in 2025 is going to be interest rates. We've been bouncing around. They were hopefully coming down where they were. Last week's show was 7.12%. Right now it's 7.07. Some jobless claim numbers came out this past week, and they were better than expected. I think there's a lot of people, though, who don't believe the jobless numbers coming out from the administration. They've gone back and revised significant amounts of those. But either way, Wall Street still trusts it. The bond market still trusts them. And rates are still holding high in the 7s right now. 15-year fixed rate, 6.47%. 30-year jumbo loan, 7.3%. A 30-year FHA loan, 6.3%, which is great rates right there for anybody that's a first-time buyer or wanting to get something there with a little money down. And a VA loan right now, 6.4% overall. And so if you look at the overall theme, there's a lot of opportunities for buyers right now where inventory is not still super low. I was in a coaching group recently where places like Massachusetts, Colorado, they're still getting 5-10 offers on every single property, having to pay 10, 20,000 over asking price. Thankfully, as a buyer, you're not having to do that here, where we have an equal amount of inventory, where it's fair for both the seller and the buyer. And so it's a great opportunity for anyone to jump on if they're thinking about selling. But we'll keep watching. Everyone's hoping first quarter rates get back out down to the 6s. The magic number everyone says is right below 6.3%. You're going to see everyone jump back in just like they did last October. And so we'll keep watching out for there. We'll keep you updated every single week, but be prepared to get your property ready to sell because so many buyers who've been backed up through the holiday season are jump back in right now. If you have any questions, give us a call, 843-808-SOLD. We'll give you a quick break right back in a second.
WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask
Perfect, thank
Blake
you.
about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaBox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts. When I'm Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord with folks who understand the challenges that come with life's big changes. For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. Start packing.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot Buyers Alert. My team and I are working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers looking at properties here in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Strand area, even from $250,000 to $4.4 million. If you're thinking about selling, please contact us immediately, 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. One thing we've been doing here for a long, long time is putting our money where our mouth is. Most agents just give you promises. We like to give you proof. And so we outspend the average agent 100 to 1 because of our unique business model. We have a team of specialists, 25 plus buyers agents, listing specialists, but we feed those buyers agents. They make about 15,000 phone calls a week right now, and their job is to match up buyers that we have to sellers that we have for one reason, because I'm in business to make money, right? If we match up buyers and sellers, that's what you hired us to do, and that's what we're very, very good at. And so right now, active home buyers, we have 78,933 active home buyers with a username, password, account. And we share that because we have what we call buyers in waiting. It helps us speed up the home sale much, much faster for you because we can use our software, our technology to match up buyers and sellers. I did the interview yesterday and showed them online. People were blown away. But right now I got John Powell from Harrisburg, PA. I got Willie Rosiak from New York City, New York. I got Dennis O'Donnell right here in Myrtle Beach. I got Deb from Salisbury, North Carolina. Carl from Murrells Inlet, South Carolina. I got Patricia from Columbia, South Carolina. We got Port St. Lucie, Florida. Jan on here. We get all over the globe. We get people here. I got Pella, Iowa. That's a cool one. I got Vallejo, California, Conway, South Carolina. And so if you're thinking about selling, go with the ones that already have buyers in waiting. We can literally show you who they are. We can show you how many buyers that we have that match your exact house while we're there. We type in your criteria, it reverse engineers, it scores them on a scale of 1 to 100. And then our sales team reaches out and pushes those while most agents are out there just playing golf 3 days a week and kind of hoping that someone sells it. We're here to hustle and get you the results that you want. So if you want to know more, reach out, call me, 843-808. So we need listings right now, especially after the holidays. Big, awesome success story. Want to get a couple of those. Lori and Jim had an amazing house in Myrtle Beach they were looking to sell so they could move back to be closer to family up north. They initially talked to a few investors to get a buyout, but quickly found they're only getting pennies on the dollar from the offer. They did not want the house sitting on the market for a long time, but thankfully they saw our billboards. They gave us a call. We came in, showed them how we get them tens of thousands of dollars more than they thought they could actually get. We did our quick sale program, which is like a hybrid program. We match it up to our buyers that we have. I designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, sent that to all those buyers, drove massive traffic, had it under contract within 4 days. They closed seamlessly, put tens of thousands of more dollars in their pocket than they ever thought possible. Thankfully, reach out to us. Also, Michael had a property he inherited in Conway that was extremely nice with large acreage. He wanted to sell it to maximize the money. Unfortunately, he listed the home and the land with a family friend. They listed for 6 months, had very few showings, no offers. He was very frustrated after keeping up the property, all the acreage, and paying the bills for so long with no buyers. Thankfully, he was referred to us by an amazing radio listener. We came in, identified the problem immediately, which was marketing. I designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, the virtual reality walkthrough, drove massive traffic, had it under contract within 2 weeks. And so if you want to know more, if you want to be a success story like that, reach out, call us, 843-808. So we are building up right now for 2025. You're thinking about getting real estate, reach out, call me overall with that scenario, 843-808-SOLD. You can also go to SloanScholarship.com. Got 2 minutes left. I want to talk about one thing that's important, what we have here, which is the number one reason that people moved in 2024, interesting, right? And it gives a percent distribution based on everyone that surveyed. The number one reason, we see this a lot here, is, and that was actually one of the success stories, desire to be closer to family / friends / relatives. 23% of people move because of that. And we're seeing that a lot here, especially in Myrtle Beach. I think we're probably higher because people come from up north. The family doesn't visit like they wanted to, or not enough, or the people have grandkids. That's a big one. They go back to be around the grandkids. Number two, the second reason is the house is too small, aka they have children and babies, they outgrow the house, and they obviously need something else. Third one is home is too large, right? Those are the ones that downsize after their kids get older, right? Too much to take care of. Number four, home has become less desirable. And the next one is the home too small, 12%, home too large, 11%. Neighborhood home has become, the neighborhood has become undesirable, is 10%. Changing family status like marriage, child, divorce, 8%. And a lot of people moving to retirement, 7%. And it breaks down a couple of other ones there overall. But by far, almost double the number two is to be closer to family and friends. So if you're out there and you want to be closer to family and friends, do not leave hard-earned equity on the table. I see it all the time where people think they got a successful home sale, but they don't realize they just left $30,000 on the table. We go back to that data. 48% of agents did not sell a house in the last 12 months. You want somebody who can get the job done for you, who specializes this, who does a lot of them. We just got final numbers in for this video interview I did yesterday. Our team, in the history we've done, sold over 7,000 houses for $1.5 billion in home sales. It's a lot of properties sold, a lot of headaches, a lot of problems that we know about. So reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. and see you back here next week.